Thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, we've got, near average temperatures with shots of cooler air coming in here, especially over the weekend and then potentially as we get into the later part of next week in the 8 to 10 day time frame, but really overall pleasant conditions across the prairie. When we talk about precipitation, though, we do have a much higher chance for some accumulating snow across a widespread portion of the prairie south of Highway 16 this time. As we look at the precipitation forecast over the next week, especially the snowfall here, we've been talking a lot over the last several weeks about snow north of Highway 16. Well, finally, if you're in the mood for some snow, but I guess I should say we're finally just seeing some sort of pattern change here, and that is going to be one that brings a lot more snow into portions along and south of Highway 16 here. A couple of disturbances making their way across the prairie right now. Most notably, we've got this circulation right here that's delivering some snow right along the Highway 16 corridor. It's also creating some blustery conditions across portions of the prairie here. As we just first check in with the radar, again seeing some of that snow falling from southern Alberta into central and southern Saskatchewan. We've got some snow squalls across southern Alberta, so potentially some bursts of very heavy snow and strong winds, and then more steady snow here as you head over toward Regina and eventually toward the Brandon area. Now, as we look at the alerts that are currently in effect here across Canada, again, I'm going to focus here on what we've got going on across portions of southern Alberta, and that is a snow squall watch and a wind warning here. As we talk about the snow squall watch, we're again talking about portions of southern Alberta, especially during the first half of the day today, seeing perhaps gusty winds and some bursts of heavier snow across the region as this front makes its way through. And then additionally, we're dealing with some strong winds with very strong westerly winds gusting 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. And that again will begin to subside as we head over the next 24 hours. Let's check in with the high-resolution Canadian model here, looking at the precipitation forecast, again beginning on this Wednesday morning, watching this area of low pressure making its way across south-central Saskatchewan, eventually into southern Manitoba as we head into the evening, taking an area of snow along with it. So again, seeing that snow making its way through central and southern Saskatchewan this morning. As we head into the afternoon hours and eventually the evening, that'll move over toward the Winnipeg area and the whole southern third of Manitoba, likely seeing at least a little bit of accumulating snow along with the passage of this system. We see agreement here when we look at the WRF model. This is a North American model. And again, we see that system, that area of low pressure sliding across south central Alberta, eventually into southern Manitoba this evening, taking a round of snow with it. We'll then have to watch the weekend for the next storm system looming behind it. This will be the next one that brings a corridor of accumulating snow as we head into the end of the week and the weekend. Now, looking at those wind gusts, again, seeing them gusting anywhere from, on the high end, 80 to 100 kilometers per hour across southern Alberta. Those will begin to subside and sweep across portions of the northern plains of the U.S. as we head into the later part of the day. But as each one of these little systems makes their way through, we'll see, the tendency for these wind gusts to kind of ramp back up into at least the 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. I traveled all day yesterday, so I apologize. I do have a bit of a foggy brain this morning. So even as we head into the end of the week, periods of gusty winds across the prairie, it is that time of year. As we just look at the WRF model, the total accumulated snow, now understand that it's a bit of a tough pattern to pin down exact locations here, especially with the snow squalls across portions of southern Alberta. This is going to be not how this ends up working out. What I mostly want to point out is the corridor of snow, the heaviest that accompanies that area of low pressure that makes its way across central Saskatchewan, eventually into southern Manitoba. Again, seeing that corridor very close to Highway 16, and again, talking about maybe 5 to 15 centimeters of snow. The high end there is going to be rather localized. We have more shots of snow coming, though, as we head into the weekend and into next week. We're going to be seeing a trough kind of anchor itself across western Canada and the western United States as we head into the end of the week and into next week. And so again, that's going to leave us open to shots of cooler air. I'm not seeing any sign that we're going to be dealing with a deep freeze at this point, but right now, instead of looking at going full speed into mid-March with a very spring-like pattern, I do think we're going to have more and more shots of or more and more opportunities for some shots of cooler air, especially as we get into March 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. That's when it looks like this trough really wants to anchor across the region. Looking at the 500 millibar vorticity plot, and again, I'll go ahead and highlight the primary prairie region here on this map because it is a busy and complicated map. And what I want to point out, again, when we look for these areas of the shaded colors, especially those oranges and reds, that's area of high vorticity, and when those are moving into areas that's spin within the atmosphere, and that can lead to the development of upward vertical motion, cloud cover, and precipitation. I know I kind of give a terrible description of this each time I show it. Just understand that we're watching for these little clusters, these what we call vorticity maximum, vort maxes, and where those are moving, that's where we can expect to see unsettled weather. So knowing that, as I go ahead and play this loop over the next week, you're seeing multiple opportunities, multiple ones of these waves of vorticity moving through the region, and each one of those is going to be accompanied with the chance for some precipitation across the region. So an active pattern is what I'm trying to convey here, and it'll make a little bit more sense intuitively as I go ahead and flip over and just show you the precipitation forecast, again highlighting the primary prairie region here on the map. I'm watching for these storm systems traveling through every couple of days here over the next 7 to 10 days. Let's go ahead and bring it back. We'll time things out. Watching first this storm system that's making its way across central and southern Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba during the day today into tonight. Get a brief break. High pressure moves in Thursday. Should be a pleasant day across the prairie on Thursday. Friday should be pleasant as we get started, especially across the eastern half of the prairie. Maybe blustery in some areas, but likely another dry day on Friday. It's going to be on Saturday. We'll see our next chance for snow to begin overspreading the prairie, beginning in central and southern Alberta, and eventually spreading eastward across central and southern Saskatchewan as we get into Saturday night and Sunday morning, and then making its way into Manitoba as we get into the day on Sunday. So another chance for accumulating snow across much, if not all, of the prairie as we head through Saturday and Sunday. We get high pressure on the backside as we head into Monday and Tuesday. We're getting a bit out there, so details start getting a bit fuzzy and a little bit less certain and less set in stone, but the pattern continues. We begin watching then as we head into Wednesday and Thursday for our next chance for organized precipitation, widespread snow across the region. So you're picking up on a theme here as we enter this active phase here, at least over the next 2 weeks. We're going to see those chances for a disturbance to move through, bringing accumulating snow with it here every 2 to 3 days. It seems like you get a couple of days with unsettled weather here, maybe a couple days off with drier weather, but the pattern is active right now as we head through the next 7 to 10 days across the prairie. So we look at a couple different ideas of accumulated snow over the next 7 days. So each one of these maps takes us through Wednesday of next week through March 11th. And again, pretty good agreement. Really, remarkably good agreement when we look at this. And again, you're picking up on the heaviest snow here being along and south of Highway 16 this time. A different story than what I've been giving you over the last couple of weeks when all the snow was north of Highway 16. Now it's shifted south of Highway 16 with this new pattern. And again, I see pretty good agreement here with the heaviest corridor potentially setting up here across very near Highway 16 across eastern Saskatchewan, getting into southern, south-central Manitoba. So this corridor here, the potential to pick up, 15 to 25, perhaps locally more, centimeters of snow over the next week, and then everyone across along and south of Highway 16 across the Canadian Prairie with the opportunity for more than 5 centimeters of snow, if not getting close to that 10 to 15 centimeter threshold over the next 7 days. So that is the story. Good chances for everyone along and south of Highway 16 to pick up some accumulating snow over the next week. And then if you are right in this little corridor here across south-central Saskatchewan into southern and south-central Manitoba, the potential for maybe some significant accumulating snow, especially as we get into the 5 to 7 day time frame. Quickly looking at temperatures here, the trends here, again, hovering around 4 to 5 degrees warmer than average as we get the middle of the week ended here. We see that shot of cooler air coming in over the weekend. We'll drop our temperatures back to around 10 to 15 degrees cooler than average, especially across areas that see that significant snowfall. That's where we could have a little help from that fresh snowpack knocking our temperatures down a bit. The pattern does moderate as we head into the middle of next week, but then we see the opportunity, I said that trough is going to really anchor as we get into March 12th, 13th, and 14th, and it looks like that's when we could see our next shot of cooler air coming in from the northwest as we head into, again, that March 13th through the 15th time frame. So a bit of a temperature roller coaster ride, and then the opportunity for just about everyone to see some accumulating snow as we head through the next week. Let's look at those temperatures then. Again, here's that shot of cold air. We're looking at Calgary first. High temperatures between 4 and 8 Wednesday through Friday, dropping back down below 0 Saturday and Sunday, moderating as we head into next week. Another similar look here in Edmonton. Those coldest days arriving Saturday and Sunday. We may have to talk about some colder air here as we get to the end of the 10-day forecast here. We'll have to watch these days here as we get into March 13th and 14th to see if we don't see another shot of cooler air similar to this. Looking at Regina, similarly, Sunday and Monday, those are going to be the coldest days out of the next 10. Looking at Saskatoon, again, that cold shot of air coming in March 7th through the 9th. And then as we look at Winnipeg, just delayed by a day or so, getting that shot of colder air coming in here Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, moderating as we head into the middle part of next week. But then once again, we'll have to talk about the possibility of us shifting cooler again across the prairie as we head into the very middle of March. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again on Friday morning.